in Tulsa. Out of the American, the Golden Hurricane. Out of the Big 12, number 16, Kansas State. Rich Welts along with Steve Lapis. Tulsa took down Oklahoma State of the Big 12 on this floor on Wednesday. A runner off balance, Curran Scott for Tulsa. Tulsa has built a 7-2 lead.
Well, the truth is, right now, this matchup zone has Kansas State completely flustered in the half court. Not running any offense, standing around a lot, not getting any movement.
Kansas State, an Elite 8 team last year.
I don't know why more people don't just run their man-to-man offense against a matchup zone. I don't understand it.
Dean Wade misses a shot. This is DeQuan Jeffries. He was huge in the win over Oklahoma State.
Well, you can see Sterling Taplin starts out by getting into the lane and dishing to his teammate. Then Curran Scott knocks down the three. And let's understand this. This Tulsa team has not been a great three-point shooting team all year. They've already knocked one out. Curran Scott again going to the basket. So this dribble penetration, I think that all of a sudden Kansas State is having a problem with, because the other day they got lit up by Marcus Howard and Marquette getting to the basket.
Bruce Weber right now pacing in front of his bench. Frank Haith isn't happy. Both teams wanted to make substitutions. They'll have to wait till a free throw is shot. Bruce Weber's had a nice run, and especially last year. All starters back from the Elite 8 team that had that great ride in the NCAA tournament, and they were picked to finish second in the Big 12 this year. Frank Haith in his 5th year. Since he arrived on campus since 2014, only Cincinnati and SMU have more wins in the American Conference than Tulsa.
Well, both these guys are terrific coaches and have done great jobs in what I would say are not the best jobs in their respective leagues. So they've done a really, really good job.
Jeffries with the free throws. He had 20 against Oklahoma State, and Tulsa has a 9-2 lead.
And they use this 1-2-2 three-quarter court press to make you eat up some clock so you don't have as much time to play in the half court against this matchup zone defense. Look how they're matched up. That was a good play by Dean Wade.
And a block from behind by Jeffries. Wade gets it back, lost it again, kicks it out to Brown, stumbles in the lane, off of Wade's hand, and another Kansas State turnover. Tulsa off to a hot start against number 16 Kansas State. For those of you watching on CBSSports.com, our streaming coverage will conclude after the commercial break, but will continue on CBS Sports Network.
College basketball on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing.
Cold afternoon in Tulsa, but nice and warm inside the Reynolds Center. Look at this start. 9-2 Tulsa on top of number 16, Kansas State. Rich Waltz along with Steve Lapis. Now on Wednesday, Oklahoma State was here, and Tulsa beat them by 3. Now you've got a number 16 team out of the Big 12. This is an enormous opportunity.
It's a great opportunity for Tulsa. When you get somebody this good on your home floor, and you have a chance to get one of those quality wins that the NCAA looks at so closely at the end of the year when they're making selections, a big day for Tulsa, but you know, a big one for Kansas State too, because they're coming off a tough loss against Marquette the other night when they didn't defend well. And I got to be honest with you, they haven't started this game defending at their level either.
Yeah, Kansas State so good defensively, best in the Big 12 at turnover margin and turning over the opponent. A drive there and a foul before the shot. And it was DeQuan Jeffries on the drive. Steve Lapis, go to work. Keys to the game.
Well, for Kansas State, don't foul, because this Tulsa team is one of the best in the country at getting to the free throw line. They got to get Dean Wade going, their super player. For Tulsa, no turnovers. 1/3 of Kansas State's points are scored off the other team's turnovers, which is huge for them. They must make sure they don't turn it over, and they've got to rebound the ball.
Karita driving. Elijah Joyner is into the ball game for Tulsa. Also in is Jariah Horn. He played well against Oklahoma State, had 16 points off the bench. Late in the shot clock, desperation shot, and a rebounding foul on Tulsa. Here's a look at Elijah Joyner Frank Haith's got a deep team. He's got some good youth, a couple transfers in. This is a really interesting team. The win over Oklahoma State certainly significant. If they could back it up with a win over here, then all of a sudden a lot of eyes would be open, not only in the American, but across the country.
Well, he told me before the game that he really likes this team. He likes his depth. He thinks that they have a ways to go as a team, but he likes the pieces that he has.
Now Kansas State trying to find some points. Wade is averaging 15 a game, kicks it out Stokes, rotates it into the corner. Kansas State already with 3 turnovers. Brown to Stokes, good ball fake, hops in the lane, can't finish. And the rebound goes to Tulsa and Simon Falokun.
I'll tell you what, that was a really good defensive possession by Tulsa. Because that time, give Kansas State credit, they moved the ball much better, but they really weren't able to find anything in the end. That was a decent shot by Stokes, no doubt about it, but I think the way they moved defensively on that possession, Tulsa, that was pretty good.
And the call is significant. Dean Wade, preseason Big 12 Player of the Year, picks up his 2nd personal foul, and only 5 minutes have escaped from this game.
The same thing happened to him the other day. He didn't play nearly as many minutes as he normally plays against Marquette because he got in foul trouble.
Now remember, he missed a lot of time in the offseason with a foot injury. And let's see if Tulsa can take advantage of it. It stays with Tulsa. 18 to shoot.
Well, this team almost got to the Final Four last year with Dean Wade hurt. He had a stress fracture at the end of the year and was not able to play in the NCAA tournament. So he's obviously he's the preseason Player of the Year in the Big 12, which Kansas State doesn't get that often.
Shot clock under 10. Chris Barnes is in the game. Long 3. The rebound to Cartier Jada of Kansas State. Jada's in the game along with Xavier Sneed. Feeds the post. This is Maywino under and in for Kansas State.
You know, that's what Kansas State has to do. They've got to try and get the ball inside. That is not good defense.
That's Chris Barnes, the sophomore transfer from UTEP.
When you come back down somebody's throat right after you score, that can't make you happy.
Jada, Brown, Stokes in the backcourt right now for Kansas State. This is Jada driving, tipped from behind. It stays with the Wildcats.
I mean, you'll see here, right after Kansas State scores, Jada does just not do a good job getting back. He really did foul there also.
Mid-range jumper is good. And that's Xavier Sneed, the junior out of St. Louis, who had that great run in the NCAA tournament, especially in that win over Kentucky that got him to the Elite 8. Mayween with his 2nd personal foul. And now you got a pair of bigs for Kansas State who have 2 personals, and there's a ton of time left in this first half.
Yes, this is this is the predicament they found themselves in the other day.
Levi Stockard III, the sophomore out of St. Louis, who's averaging just 2 points a game and not a lot of minutes is coming in. Right now, Tulsa's bench is in there right now, the 2nd unit, trying to keep this lead. Barnes lost his dribble, kicks it out, Taplin's in the bench, and he misses a jumper. Stokes on the move. Sneed to the corner, good catch by Brown. Missed the 3.
That's been something they have not done well in the early season, which is shoot threes.
Neither team has shot the 3 well this year. Barnes misses a straight on 18-footer and a foul. And I think it's on Kansas State. It's Stockard. That's Levi. That's almost a, I don't want to say it's a hook and hold, but it's close.
They may look at this.
And they are. That's one of the new rules in terms of point of emphasis and enforcement this year is the hook and the hold can be a flagrant one. And it was a quick hook and hold if it was that, but the officials will look.
Yeah, this has been a point of emphasis, as you said, Rich. They want to get this out of the game. It's a hard one because you really got to, it's a hard one to see live. Most of the ones that I've seen called have been called after going to the monitor. Oh yeah, that's going to be a flagrant one. Absolutely. Oh yeah, that's gonna be on
that's Stockard.
Levi Stockard.
And now Stockard, remember, Kansas State has 2 big men with 2 fouls already. Dean Wade is out. McCall Mayween is out, both with 2 personal fouls. Stockard came in, and immediately he picks up a flagrant one.
Yeah, that was an easy one to call once you went to the monitor. But it's funny because there's an obvious one, but that's such a hard call to call live because you need to see if he ends up holding him. You need to see if they try to let go. That's a hard call, and they have to go to the monitor just about on every one of them.
Martins Igbanu, who shoots 74% from the line, goes to the line.
The idea is if you call these fouls, then the kids are going to not want flagrant ones, and coaches aren't going to want flagrant ones, and they're going to teach the kids not to do it. You could get hooked up. I'm sorry. You could get hooked up inadvertently, but you have to let go right away, and that's what Stockard did not do there.
Sorry for the laughter. Igbanu, after his free throw.
I thought it was because of what I said.
No, he stepped down the lane and gave high fives, air high fives. There's nobody on the lane, but he wanted to go through the routine, so he gave his imaginary teammates high fives. That's creative.
Kids can do some things now, let me tell you.
All right, 12-6. Taplin into Igbanu. Taplin does a little bit of everything. He's the point guard for this Tulsa team. This is Elijah Joyner. It's a good pick and roll team, especially with the high ball screens in Tulsa. Igbanu spinning, double team, kick out, Taplin 3. Way up to get the rebound is Xavier Sneed.
And they double teamed Igbanu that time, and that was as good a look as you're going to get from the three-point line.
Jada, good entry and low. Stockard missed the left-hand shot.
I mean, he was in there deep, too, deep position.
And Taplin comes away with it. Joyner steps into a 3 and missed it. Now, Tulsa's just 31% from distance this year. Stokes beats his man down the floor and draws contact and should get free throws. All right, you know, you want that routine. Players they love that routine. Free throw, you make it, you get some high five from your teammates, right? Some love from you and you.
I'll tell you what, kids are funny.
Well, Igbanu, they love him here. This is a kid, Igbanu, who has not been home in 6 years, coming from Nigeria. Went to high school in Georgia, came here to Tulsa, and he's a junior now. They really, really like him, not only on this team, but in this community.
Yeah, I mean, this is a kid that's really done a great job here. He's a terrific kid, great student, kind of guy you want on your team.
Kamau Stokes, remember he had a foot issue last year, missed 7 games right in the middle of the season. And even he wasn't 100% in the NCAA tournament.
And he's a really good point guard. He's the guy who makes them go on really on both ends of the floor. A terrific defensive guard also.
Mike McGurl is in for Kansas State as well. It's a small lineup in there for the Wildcats. Parita, good shooter. Igbanu driving, cut off on the baseline. Shot clock down to 5. Taplin takes a look. Scott got to get it up. Floater in the lane, and it's a block. And free throws coming when we return. Tulsa at home and on top by 4. Get up bright and early tomorrow morning, 8 Eastern. Our Tots crew will be up as well. Get you ready for a jam-packed day in the National Football League. That other pregame show right here on CBS Sports Network. Tulsa's defense looks good.
Well, it looks really good, and it's been very confusing so far in this game for Kansas State. They've been doing a lot of standing around in the half court, but give Tulsa credit. It's been an active defense, a confusing defense. They've been surrounding the ball. They've been getting it inside. When people put the ball on the floor, they've been attacking. This Tulsa defense has been very, very good so far. And that was Bruce Weber's big concern, was this defense.
Well, Bruce Weber's big concern in that loss at Marquette was foul trouble. 29 Kansas State fouls. Dean Wade fouled out in that ball game. And if you're just joining us, Kansas State's bigs in foul trouble here. Dean Wade picked up 2 quick ones. McCall Mayween with a couple of quick fouls as well.
And you think about it, Tulsa doesn't really have a huge inside presence for big guys to get in foul trouble like they have.
Lead is 5.
Everybody's got a guy. It looks like it's man-to-man, but they're trying to make it look like a zone if they can. Very active and a lot of communication going on by Tulsa right now.
Sneed knifes his way through. McGurl with a great follow, the sophomore out of Connecticut. He had that terrific game in the win over Creighton last year in the NCAA tournament.
Connecticut to Kansas State, you don't see that very often.
No. Well, they told him he was going to Manhattan, and he thought. Now Tulsa with a possession. Taplin driving. Circus shot, and he makes it. Oh, my goodness. Sterling Taplin.
He didn't really know what he wanted to do with that. He decided to shoot it in the end.
McGurl on the baseline. Good look there, and the 3 by Sneed is short.
And I'll tell you, great box out that time by Banu.
Look at Bruce Weber. He's just as active as his defense.
Well, the defense is what's keeping them in the game, because right now their offense has been non-existent.
Tulsa's 5 of 13 from the field. Long one there from Lawson Corrida. And if he gets hot, that's a good sign for Tulsa. Biggest lead of the game is 8. Jada, great move, and finish, the lefty. Taplin, there's that pick and roll. Tried to force the contact, and no whistle.
Yeah, that was a good no call.
Sneed. Jada. Austin Trice in the low blocks. It's the 4th big to play already for Bruce Weber. Jada drives, Sneed rotates, McGurl fires, got it! It's a 3.
That was one of the rare times when the movement of the ball and Tulsa did not match up the way they should have, losing McGurl that time.
Number 16, Kansas State, back within 3 of Tulsa. Curran driving, and he bounces one off the glass and in. Curran Scott has got 7 to lead Tulsa.
Making much more of an effort to get the ball to the high post area now, Kansas State.
And Sneed, it's a 2, his foot on the line. Corrida off the miss. Kansas State. Sneed is open, stumbles, and threw it away. And then falls on the floor. Scott, waiting for help, gets to the rim. Trice lost it. Scott gets it back. Corrida.
Well, right now the hurricane is swirling in this building. There's no doubt about it. They've been hitting shots, hustling, coming up with the loose balls, and they also have themselves a 6-point lead over Kansas State.
Number 16 in the country, but this is a true road game here on Tulsa's campus. Last year they met in Wichita, Kansas, and it was Tulsa who came away with a win.
Yeah, that was a great win for them. More of a neutral floor than this is today. This is a real road game for Kansas State.
Frank Haith, Bruce Weber, there's your series history. And this series here, neutral site last year, game in Tulsa this year, and Manhattan, Kansas next year. So it's a 3-game series that they've joined up for. It's the first time since 1990 that Kansas State has played in Tulsa.
And it's a good game for both programs because whoever wins this game is going to get something good for their resume.
Yes, I mean, if you can get a road win, especially against an American team. Tulsa just beat Oklahoma State. That certainly will look good on the resume for Kansas State. And obviously Tulsa, this would be an enormous boost to their resume. This would shoot right to the top of Frank Haith's resume.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
Jada rotates it. Good ball movement right now by Kansas State. Jada drives, corner. That is Sneed, and he misses the 3. Stockard with the rebound. Fresh shot clock for Kansas State. Brown cuts. Blocks.
Good defense.
Jeffries. Frank Haith talked about the high ball screens and the great spacing that his team has. Jeffries is bumped. And that foul's going to go on Xavier Sneed.
Well, take a look at this here defensively. Matched up very well. Good defense in the lane. Everybody alert and aware.
That is the 8th team foul on Kansas State. Tulsa has just 3. And so free throws for a Tulsa team. There's a good free throw shooting team right now, 72%. And Daquan Jeffries goes to the line. Jeffries, his senior year, Edmond, Oklahoma native, junior college product, misses the front end of 1-1.
One of the things that I like that Bruce Weber's done, he's really playing 4 guards now. And that's a good thing. It's harder to match up with 4 guards than it is with 3 out and 2 in.
And remember, he's got 2 bigs out right now. Both McCall Mayween and Dean Wade, 2 starters with 2 fouls.
And you know, you kind of stumble on some things sometimes. And I think it's much harder to play a matchup zone against this lineup than against a traditional 3 out, 2 in lineup.
1 of 6 from distance is Kansas State. Brown penetrates, and in that loss last year to Tulsa, they were abysmal from distance. They were 4 of 32 from 3-point. Last year was Kansas State in the loss to the Golden Hurricane. And a strip there. This is Brown who steps through and misses with the left hand, but Stockard is there to follow it in.
And Frank Haith cannot be happy with the way his team got back on defense. They missed the first shot. A couple of his guys were still at half court or just crossing half court. They need to hustle back and not think that a guy's going to score automatically, because they don't all the time.
Taplin runs the offense in the backcourt with Jeffries. Corita calling for it in the corner. He's hit a couple threes. Horn misses a 3. And a rebound to Cartier Jada, who streaks down the floor and draws a block, which draws the ire of the crowd here.
I thought that was a dead charge. I mean, he is... I don't know about that one. The guy he ran over was retreating, and he still continued to run him over.
Kansas State at 6-1. Lost on the road to Marquette. Marcus Howard went for 45 against him last week.
Hey, I saw him get 53 at Providence last year, so I know what Marcus Howard can do. I've seen it live.
And a foul there, and all of a sudden the whistles are starting to even up. And that foul is on Elijah Joyner. Kansas State has had to go small. And that was 5 minutes in to this first half when both Mayween and Wade went to the bench, and they haven't been heard from since.
No, and they had that issue the other night against Marquette. They were in big foul trouble. And obviously, Bruce Weber feels like he didn't want to put Wade back in with 2 fouls. I like putting a guy in with 2 fouls when he gets his 2 early.
Stokes, Jada's playing a lot of minutes here in the first half. And the sophomore goes to work, gets bumped, and he's going to earn 2 free throws. Another look.
I think this is a good call, and it's a good play to go in there. And, oh, boy, it was a little closer than I thought.
Jariah Horn picks up his second, and he's a key piece to Tulsa off the bench. He's their best scoring punch as a reserve. He's averaging 8 a game. Jada originally from New York, then ended up in Florence, South Carolina. And so the lead now, which was 8 at one point, is down to 2.
Well, Kansas State's half-court defense has been much, much better lately.
Scott in trouble.
Great job there. That's what they do.
Jada tears it away. 3 on 2, and it was blocked. Snead's shot was altered above the rim, and a foul on Tulsa. That's going to be Jeffries with the foul.
Well, you take a look at Kansas State's half-court defense. They do a great job of stopping that baseline drive and then rotating over so that there's no opening for Connor Scott to throw the ball to. That is really good pressure defense. Taking advantage of a guy who's stuck on the baseline, that's the perfect time to be aggressive in the passing lanes.
Levi Stockard hits the first one. Bruce Weber had to tell his team when practice started in the fall, this is not like last year. Last year, Kansas State was picked 8th in the Big 12, and of course they went to the Elite 8. This year they are picked 2nd, and he told his team, we're going to have a target on our back, and he said he's really felt it. His team has felt it. Everybody they've played knows they got a target, and that's going to continue into the Big 12.
You know, that's an adjustment to make when you become a team that is a quality win for the guys you're playing against. It's a huge game. Every time you walk through the door, that is something to adjust to. That also makes you understand just how hard it's been for Duke all these years. Every game they've played for the last 25 years, they are the hunters. It's unbelievable.
Jeffries misses an uncontested 3. Snead to Stokes.
Or Kansas, you know, I mean, they're not the only, it's not only Duke, but there's a few teams that have been hunted for a long, long time.
Jada, really nice crossover, but the pass kicked away. Snead has it. Shot clock at 8. Brown, it's a 2. All of a sudden, things starting to slow down offensively for both teams. Tulsa's in a drought that is approaching 4 minutes. Taplin gets fouled by Stockard. And he's going to go to the line and shoot 1 and 1. 9th team foul on Kansas State. And that's 3 fouls on Levi Stockard now.
Their big guys have really struggled in terms of helping on some of these drives because they're not getting fouls on guys posting up. There's nobody posting up really for Tulsa except Ibanu every so often. So it's the drives that they haven't been able to keep their hands off people.
Austin Trice, the junior, is back in. And, of course, McCall Mayween's got 2. Dean Wade's got 2. They both have played about 5 minutes. And now Stockard, who came in for them, is on the bench as well. There's Mike McGurl, the 6'2 sophomore.
I mean, Barry Brown, who's arguably their 2 guard, is now playing the 4 spot. He's on the inside spot on the foul line right now. So they have a very small team in the game.
Free throws off, but if any team can pull it off, it's Kansas State.
Well, I mean, he's a physical kid. It's, you know, he's strong.
The matchup zone look. Tulsa runs so well. Lead is 2. Stokes forcing Kansas State to take 3s. They're not good at it. Jada, Exhibit A, airballs that. They are 1 of 7 from distance, and that one knocked into the seats. Tulsa out of the American. Number 16, Kansas State from the Big 12. Getting closer to halftime, which means AT&T at the half. Dana Jacobson, Pete Gillen, Seth Davis, and John Rothstein will take you around college basketball. And in this one, we'll give you highlights and stats. Steve Lappas takes a look at a weekend of college basketball, and what are the headlines?
Well, how about Nevada last night? Really on the ropes by Arizona State, who's a quality team. Coming back, Caleb Martin was tremendous. These guys can go off the dribble on anybody. And I'll tell you what, Miles Mack and Miles Powell, the two Miles from Seton Hall have been terrific, and they take out the Kentucky Wildcats, who are not as good as they've been. And let me tell you something, this Gonzaga team obviously capable of winning it all, as is Tennessee. A great game tomorrow, probably the game of the week.
And that's a neutral site game in Arizona. We are in Tulsa. This is not a neutral site, although there's a ton of purple in here. There's a lot of Kansas State fans that have traveled for this one. Tulsa with the ball in a 2-point lead over the number 16 Kansas State Wildcats, who lost their first game on the road in Milwaukee to a good Marquette team their last time out. Neither team shooting it well right now. 1 of 7 from distance is Kansas State, and that's a turnover, a walk, 6 turnover for Kansas State.
And that's pretty good for Kansas State, because normally they average about 15 turnovers a game. And you can see there the foul trouble is really mounting.
And all of the Kansas State names that you see are bigs. And so this is a small team on the floor right now, very athletic team, and a very good defensive team. I don't think they'd let you into Kansas State unless you can play defense.
No. You're not playing for Bruce Weber if you don't play defense.
Now Tulsa's offense is stalled. Barnes with a jumper. Good rebound by Snead, the 6'5" junior. Baseline jumper, Barry Brown. Trice with a rebound. And a fresh shot clock for Kansas State. Brown drives. That is a charge. Corita had position and never gave it up.
Well, that was good scouting. They know Barry Brown is more of a driver than he is a shooter. And that time did a good job stepping in.
That's about as stationary as it gets.
That's a dead charge.
But look, continuing on the theme from the Marquette game, 29 fouls for Kansas State. And so far, foul trouble's been the big story.
You know, they foul a lot. They're about 240 in the nation in fouls per game, so they do foul.
Taplin. His shot blocks.
Great defense by McGurl.
And a chance to take the lead. Stokes into the corner. Snead driving, dishes it off, and a steal. Oh, great steal, and the ability to hold on to it by Chris Barnes. He had a player on his knee and a big grimace, but he's all right. Falcone, kick out, Corita badly misses a 3. Can anybody hit a 3? Stokes. Nice catch, Trice. That's blocked. Great block. Falcone got it. Joyner in transition. Barnes in traffic. Not for the faint of heart here.
No.
Trice kicks. Stokes launches.
This is some bad three-point shooting, I can tell you. Some good defense, but some poor three-point shooting.
Tulsa right now is 3 of 12 from distance. Kansas State is 1 of 8. Taplin doubled. Well, look at the shot clock. We're under a minute left, first half. Sterling Taplin, and he walked. A travel and a Tulsa turnover. Curran Scott back in for Tulsa, their leading scorer, with 8 points. Kansas State going to their bench as well. James Love the third into the ball game for Kansas State.
I'm surprised that Bruce Weber has kept Dean Wade out for about 15 minutes in this game. I wonder how he's going to be at the start of the second half. How long it's going to take him to get into the flow of the game.
McGurl into the corner. That's Jada, and that's a three. And that's the first lead for Kansas State. Final seconds, first half.
They're trying to get the last shot. Kansas State keep that. You better be careful, you're going to get a foul.
Joyner, and it is a foul.
And you know what? Bruce Weber is... Oh, Bruce Weber was really upset. I don't blame him.
It's a foul and a timeout.
Well, it's been a while since we've seen a three. And in the corner, Jada knocks it out. All of a sudden, up one, Kansas State.
24, number 16, Kansas State. Bruce Weber right now furiously coaching. There was a whistle, but a timeout was called before the contact. So no foul.
Well, I don't know what Jada was doing there, why he would even think about playing defense the way he was.
Kaplan's got to get, that's a 5-second violation. Kansas State doing what Kansas State does, and that's turn you over. And for Tulsa, that's 8 turnovers here in this first half.
And that would be a big swing here if Kansas State were to score.
Chance to stretch the lead. Final 10 seconds in the half. Stokes lost the ball, and Tulsa's got it. Got to get it up, and the buzzer sounds. This was a grinded out first half from Bruce Weber in Kansas State and Tulsa. We'll send you back to our New York studio. Dana Jacobson, Pete Gillen, Seth Davis, John Rothstein standing by for AT&T at the half. You're watching college basketball on CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home. CBS Sports. Number 16, Kansas State on the road and up a point at the half. Tulsa just took down Oklahoma State on this floor on Wednesday, and an opportunity for a number 16 Big 12 team here. Rich Waltz along with Steve Lapis. I don't know that this first half is going on anybody's instructional DVD, but maybe the part about defending the three might make it.
Well, you know, both teams are very good defensive teams in a different way. You know, one team plays a lot of matchup zone, the other team plays man-to-man. But this has been a game that's been dominated by the defense, and I think we can expect the same thing in the second half.
All right, let's take a look at some defense. Tulsa's defense is tough to recognize, isn't it?
No doubt about it. You're going to see here how they're all matched up perfectly. Everybody's got a guy. It looks like man-to-man, but it's a zone. And they do a great job of rotating that time. Sterling Taplin being aware of the guy inside. And then just converging on the ball and being very aggressive and not giving up an inch at all to Kansas State. And then Kansas State started to get a little bit of a flow on their in terms of their offense, started driving it a little more, but you know what happened? They had to play small because of the foul trouble, and a matchup zone struggles more against a smaller team that has 4 guys that can put the ball on the floor and get to the basket. The other thing we got to look at, Rich, is if you look at these statistics in this game so far, once again, Kansas State, 1/3 of their points came off forcing turnovers. They have 8 of their 25 points forcing turnovers. That's what Tulsa has to be careful in the second half.
They are one of the best in the country at doing that is Kansas State. And why were they playing small in that first half? They were playing small because their 2 best bigs, McCall Mayween and Dean Wade, both got 2 fouls 5 minutes in. And so...
And Rich, let's see how Dean Wade comes back. He didn't play for 15 minutes. How is he going to be? Is he going to get into the flow of this game right away? That's why I like playing a guy with 2 fouls.
That's Mayween with his first touch.
Now that's a good move, and they went inside. Bruce Weber obviously at halftime told his guys, let's get the ball inside. They had a huge advantage in the lane.
So both Wade and Mayween are back in there. Jeffries is stripped. Ball's loose on the floor, and Mayween comes away with it. And here comes Kansas State trying to find their stroke. Stokes, 18-footer. Mayween, offensive rebound, and he lost it.
I'll tell you the truth, if Stokes scores there and I'm Frank Haith, I might have called timeout. Because right now, this is a key point in the game. You can see Kansas State came out with a little bit more fire. They got their guys back in the game. Tulsa has to settle down and have a good offensive set here.
Veteran point guard for Tulsa, Sterling Taplin, the senior, has been here 4 years, contributed all 4 years, and a pick and roll goes awry. The bounce pass gets by Igbanu.
Wow. I mean, that wasn't even from the good defense. That was just a flat-out throwaway by his senior point guard.
9 turnovers apiece. 1 minute in, second half. In Tulsa, good crowd on a real chilly afternoon. And that's an offensive foul on Kansas State. And is it Mayween? It is. Mayween picks up number 3 just a minute in.
Well, he's got to come out for a couple of minutes. And look at this. What does Bruce Weber do? He liked that small team. He went small. Instead of bringing in one of those big guys off the bench, he comes back with Jada. So now he's playing 4 perimeter guys. I like the move by Bruce Weber.
And Jada played well in that first half. 16 minutes, 7 points, 4 rebounds, and no turnovers.
Much harder to match up zone a small team.
Taplin takes a look at the clock. Plenty of time on it.
They switch everything. You got Wade on Taplin now.
Crosses over, left hand. Oh, what a move by Sterling Taplin.
Give Sterling Taplin credit. The senior point guard realized he had Dean Wade on him, and he said, I got to take this guy. He can't guard me, and that was the truth.
Back to a 1-point Kansas State lead. Stokes, Jada.
They got to start driving into those gaps a little bit.
Wade,
that's a good pass.
Kicks, and Jada, a clean look at a 3, and Sneed was about to flush it, but it hit the rim on the way down.
The big guy gets the ball in the lane, he looks opposite. That opposite guy is open, and that's what happened to Jada. He couldn't get a better shot than that.
Taplin. Igbanu turns and faces. He's doubled. Looking for a cutter, finds one. Good rotation. Corrida had the 3, missed it. Wade with the rebound. Dean Wade has just 3 rebounds and has not scored in this game. Preseason Big 12 Player of the Year. Stokes. Nope. Tip won't go. Igbanu off of his hands. That's going to be a Kansas State ball. No, it's a Tulsa ball.
I'll tell you what K-State is doing. They're doing a great job of getting the ball into Dean Wade's hands a lot in the middle of the floor, and he's acting as a passer. Now, he's one of their top guys when it comes to assists, so he's a big guy who can really pass the ball. I like the move.
Bruce Weber has at times had to prod him to shoot and get his offense going. Corida, hard charge, Scott jumper, missed it. Stokes the tip, Wade the rebound.
Well, they need a shot to go in.
You could say that about both teams.
That's true, too.
You could say that about us. We need a few shots to go in. Sneed, jumper, Igbanu the rebound. 29% from the field, Kansas State. 33% from the field is Tulsa. And neither team doing it from distance at all. 2 of 11 is Kansas State. 3 of 14 is Tulsa. Igbanu, a creative move. And maybe with those 2 fouls, Wade being cautious on the baseline.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Rich. That's exactly what happened there. He knows Mayween got his 3rd. He couldn't get his 3rd.
And an entry pass over Wade's head. Tulsa has taken Dean Wade out of this game from the very start.
Yeah, you got the preseason Player of the Year in the Big 12, and in this game, he's been 0.
Taplin drives, kick back, Jeffries. Xavier Sneed the rebound. Wade
shoot that.
Rotates it. Jada, Stokes, corner 3, air ball by Brown. I know it's cold in Tulsa, but this is getting a little bit silly. 28-27. 28-27, Tulsa on top of number 16, Kansas State. Tonight, 10 Eastern, greatest event in rodeo continues. Las Vegas, 15 All-Stars battle it out. 8 nights of competition remaining where champions are made. The Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, a tradition in Las Vegas and a tradition here on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Rich Waltz along with Steve Lapis. Tulsa trying to take down another Big 12 opponent. They beat Oklahoma State on Wednesday, but right now the Bigs are not getting it done. Dean Wade and McCall Mayween.
Well, you think about this, Rich, the 5 starters for Kansas State that average between 8 and 15 a game, 3 double-figure scores, at 12 points between the 5 of them.
Nobody is immune to cold shooting in this ballgame. Wade's kicks. Brown dribbles out. Shot clock at 1. Got it off. And Wade a hustle rebound. Fresh shot clock. New possession.
I just don't know why Wade won't shoot the ball.
Sneed forces one. Scott with the rebound. Stripped from behind by Stokes. Jada. Sneed.
He's not even looking at the basket.
Stokes driving. Stokes finishing. And finally a bucket. Kansas State back up by 1. No ties in this game. Tulsa's lead was 8. Remember, they really came out hot and defended well in the first half. Taplin over Wade. Ball's tipped. No reset on the clock. Scott floats it up and hits it.
Connor, Scott, and Carita, they've been really the offense for Tulsa tonight.
Sneeds. No. Wade's tip. Numbers if they want it. Taplin pushing in the lane. Kicks to the corner. Jeffries missed the 3. Kamau Stokes. Jada turns down the shot. Whoa! What a jump stop. Right through the traffic. And he scores.
He's been terrific in this game, Jada.
Back to a 1-point Kansas State lead, and Scott was wide open and wasn't looking.
The nice floater by Connor Scott there. And then Jada driving the baseline. Not really a good defensive set there for Tulsa, allowing that drive to get all the way to the rim.
Well, the question is, will Dean Wade snap out of it here?
I mean, to snap out, it's like, I'd like to see him miss. He hasn't even taken a shot.
He had a few shots early. He's 0 of 3. Doesn't have a point. Has 5 rebounds.
You got to take this.
Jada crossing over, backing up, and missing there. The rebound to Tulsa. Falakun with the rebound. Skip pass, didn't skip high enough. Brown in transition. Wade, there's a shot, and he missed it.
I mean, he's a 40%. He's a very good three-point shooter. He's only made 5 out of 12 this year, but last year he made about 40 of them.
Averaging 15, 7.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists a game. Elijah Joyner, and he throws it away.
Wow.
This is Barry Brown. Wade's trailing.
Shoot it. First team All Big 12 Player of the Year.
And he's fouled, and that was on the floor. That's the first Tulsa foul of this second half.
I got to tell you, Rich, and I said this, he got his second foul in the first 5 minutes of the game. He doesn't play the next 15 minutes. I have to tell you, he seems like he's completely out of it. I'd have put him back in with 8 minutes to go, let him play to 4, and let him get a feel for the game. He is completely lost.
And Bruce Weber told us before the ballgame, there are times where he has to remind him to exert himself on the offensive side of things. It's a held ball, And the arrow is going Tulsa's way.
And let's understand this, he's a senior. So if a guy can play a few minutes with 2 fouls, you would think it's a senior could do that.
Now Tulsa is having trouble finding points as well. Karita hit a couple threes in that first half.
Yeah, the half-court offense has been struggling on both sides.
The Taplin is out right now. Joyner.
Great closeout by Jada.
Falcone misses. Did he get it off in time? No. And that was Jariah Horn. Didn't beat the Horn. 11:48 left. 31-30 Kansas State. All right, tight game here in a slugfest between number 16 Kansas State and Tulsa. Dean Wade has struggled in this ballgame.
Well, you know, we said one of the keys was for Tulsa to stop him, but this is a little bit ridiculous. He's got 0, just very tentative, not doing a good job on the defensive end of the floor here. Now you're going to see him really, you got to shoot this. Your first team All Big 12 preseason player of the year. Right here, doesn't even look at the basket. I mean, you need to be more involved. And then he shoots one here that's spinning the wrong way. Just having a rough night. A lot to do with picking up 2 fouls early. I think sitting down 15 minutes did not help him. And he's sitting here right now on the road in a tough game, and he's got to get it together and get it together quickly.
Could there be a carryover from fouling out on the road against Marquette?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that you don't have the positive reinforcement of that last game either. There's no doubt about it. And that's a good pass. But
he's doing a nice job on the boards. Now he spins and scores.
He's a good player.
And he's on the board. Kansas State by 3.
One thing about basketball, Rich, when the best player on the court is on your team, it's a huge advantage, usually.
Look at Scott. What a move that was.
Playing really well.
Curran Scott, the transfer from Charlotte.
And you don't get to the basket that often against them.
And a player is down on the other end. And that's Mike McGurl. All right, I'm going to put you to work right now. Steve Lapis, offensive coach. Give me 20 seconds on how you get each team going offensively. Let's start with Kansas State.
I have to be honest with you, Rich. I don't think they're getting bad shots. They just can't make anything. I mean, I would keep getting the ball into Wade. I would tell Wade to be more aggressive looking to score the ball. I think they're getting pretty decent shots in the half court. Tulsa, they need to pick and roll more. They need to get more movement going in this offense.
Now here's McGurl. It looks like an ankle, and it is. You can see the ankle roll right there. And he's on the bench right now. I'll get your Tulsa take when they touch the basketball next. Kansas State with the ball and a 1-point lead.
And I like this screening a lot more against this zone. They're making the zone have to think a little bit more.
Brown rises up and hits a 2, an 18-footer. And it's a 3-point lead. All right, now Tulsa, how do they get their offense started?
They got to get some pick and rolls going. I tell you, when they got the ball inside to Ibanu, they got something because Wade's afraid to foul. So let him get a touch in the lane there.
Sterling Taplin's been on the bench for a while now. Their point guard, Ibanu, waiting for the double to come. Steps through it. Chris Barnes, shot clock down at 5, stumbles, finds his man, and Ibanu lays it up and in.
Some good dribble penetration that time at the end of the shot clock, and they left Ibanu alone.
Now let's see if Wade touches it in a spot where he can score. Brown misses. And a rebound to Jariah Horn of Tulsa. Horn spinning down the lane. Horn got it in! Wow! And Tulsa up by a point.
Wow, that was a heck of a move by Jariah Horn, just attacking while they were backpedaling.
And now Wade fouls Igbanu in the low blocks.
You take a look at Jariah Horn here, nice spin move, and that time Kansas State wasn't really back in transition defense in their stance, and he just attacked them off the dribble.
He's put together back-to-back really good games 15 at Utah, 16 in the win over Oklahoma State. The transfer from Nebraska starting to feel that offensive rhythm.
Travel.
And a turnover for Kansas State. Well, nothing is easy for Tulsa or for Kansas State right now offensively. And your game trends lead has changed 6 times. Remember, Tulsa had that early 8-point lead. Joyner, the kid from Chicago, got it up, missed it. Igbanu couldn't corral the rebound. This is Cartier-Jada into the corner. Off on the 3 there is Stokes. Horn. That was almost a walk. Instead, a driving layup by Elijah Joyner.
In basketball, nothing beats a quick ball reversal.
Crowd into it. Turnover, Kansas State.
I don't think they call timeout.
There's your ball reversal, and there's the bucket. Elijah Joyner is the vocal leader of this team, even though he comes off the bench.
And think about it, Tulsa scored the last couple of possessions kind of in transition. So push the ball up, get a quick reversal, and drive it. That's what they've done.
Taplin's back in.
They warned Bruce Weber about being out of the coaching box.
Seventh year at Kansas State. Last year, of course, an Elite 8. They were the underdog, the Cinderellas last year, not so this year. Against Wade, Taplin kicks, Scott's 3, and that's a foul and an easy call on the reach by Igbanu.
Yeah, that's really a dumb play by Igbanu there. He's boxed out completely. He knows it. That was a terrific box out too. I mean, you're going to see right there, Jada, that's a great box out by the guard, number 2, and he just goes over his back. That's a foul you shouldn't get.
Kansas State now down 3. Wade the screen. You're just joining us, Dean Wade has struggled in this ball game. Stokes with a pretty move. Wade crashing the boards, extending the possession, and then throwing it away. Scott. On their feet in T-Town. 8-0 run for Tulsa.
Right now, this place is really alive. 40-35. The Hurricanes up on K-State.
Tulsa, Frank Haith coaching them up. Tulsa's on an 8-0 run, a chance to take down number 16, Kansas State. Next Saturday, CBS Sports Network brings you another doubleheader of college hoops. We start in Wichita, Wichita State and Southern Miss, followed by a battle in Bama as number 8 Auburn takes on UAB at 7:30. NCAA tournament appearances with 3 different teams, current active coaches, 3 of them involved, 2 here, and then of course Bruce Pearl will see next weekend with Auburn. Kansas State out of the timeout, down 5, 7.5 left. Tulsa beat Oklahoma State on this floor on Wednesday. Stokes driving, and he missed the runner, and it's kicked out of bounds, and it stays with Kansas State. Number 16 on the road and on the ropes in Tulsa. 7:20 left. Tulsa a 5-point lead over number 16, Kansas State. Steve Lapis goes back to his keys to the game.
Well, we said Kansas State can't foul. They really have not fouled. They haven't put them at the foul line. Get Wade going. He has not gotten going. Tulsa, don't turn it over. They have 15 turnovers, which is really the only reason Kansas State's even in this game. And they must rebound. -6 rebounding margin.
One bright spot for Tulsa offensively off the bench, the junior, Curran Scott.
Curran Scott has been terrific in this game so far, no doubt about it. He's got 14 points, taking it to the basket, drives, making some threes. Really, really solid all-around game.
Transfer from Charlotte. He's a junior, averaging just 7 a game. 14 in this one. Got a season high out of Edmond, Oklahoma. Came back to the state to play after starting his career at Charlotte. Now Kansas State out of the timeout. The matchup zone, tough to recognize and then tough to attack. Snead rotates it. Stokes. This backcourt has not shot it well, but Brown has a layup and he hits it.
Great pass, cutting to the basket.
Taplin feeds the post into the corner. This is Joyner. Rotates out top. That's a 3 and a miss by Jariah Horn, and out of bounds. It stays with Tulsa. This place holds about 8, and I'll say he probably got about almost 7 in here. There's a lot of Kansas State fans, but the Tulsa fans have been very, very loud whenever Tulsa's made their run. This right on the Tulsa campus. Horn backing in on Wade, falling away. Difficult shot.
Tough shot.
Snead the rebound. Neither team has had a lot of success in transition. Wade cut off. Snead got it. Big 3 from the corner. Xavier Snead.
Well, that's the guy who's got to make them for him. He's the most consistent three-point shooter they have.
40 apiece. It's the first tie of the game. Joyner, Jeffries, Taplin in the backcourt. Scott and Horn as well, and falling away is Taplin. Snead away with the rebound. Wade. And it's not just layups in transition. There's been no trail threes at all for either team.
They got to get touches for Wade.
Wade cut off.
Good pass.
And a missed layup there. Stokes.
Wow.
Scott has been the best scorer for Tulsa. Daquan Jeffries has just 2 in this game. He had 20 in the win over Oklahoma State. This is Jeffries here, driving by Wade and scoring.
That time Kansas State fell asleep completely.
Good fake, Stokes, no, rebound. Jeffries. Tulsa 2-point lead. Number 16, Kansas State on the road and in trouble right now. Taplin kicks. Horn's 3. He got it! Kansas State needs an answer, and they get it. Sneed with a three. (45-43). Tulsa with the ball in the lead. 3.5 minutes left. Kansas State trying to avoid the upset. Jeffries. No. Sneed with the rebound. 9 rebounds for Xavier Sneed. Wade muscling in. Can't finish. Jeffries rebound. Approaching 3 minutes left. Taplin and Frank Haith wants a timeout, takes a timeout. Tulsa at home knocked off Oklahoma State on Wednesday. Number 16 Kansas State trying to hang in. It's a 2-point Hurricane lead. This was Wednesday on CBS Sports Network. It was Oklahoma State here in Tulsa. Jariah Horn, 7 rebounds, 16 points, and a nice lead for Tulsa. But Oklahoma State came back. Daquan Jeffries, though, 9 of his 20 in the final minute. And Tulsa held off Oklahoma State 74-71. AT&T brings you this game summary. If you're just joining us, a defensive struggle, but the offense has started to flow. The bench points important for Kansas State. They had foul trouble in that first half, and they've not had some great games from their backcourt and from their all-conference big in Dean Wade. Still, the Wildcats are down by just 2. Tulsa at home and on top. Wade in this ball game has struggled. He's 1 of 6, 7 rebounds. And he's on the bench for this Tulsa possession. Taplin, Jeffries, Carita, Igbanu with the screen. Scott's in the corner. Jeffries, jumper, missed it. And a rebound by Jada. Cartier Jada has played some big minutes for Kansas State off the bench. And now the Wildcats with a chance to tie or take the lead.
Well, their best offense had been Wade in the lane, but right now he's not in the game. They're going basically with 4 out, 1 in.
Mayween is that 1 in. Shot clock's down. Stokes starts down the lane, whips the pass. Got to get it up. Sneed does. Oh, he hits it. It's a 3. Contested. And Kansas State has the lead.
What a huge shot by Xavier Sneed. He's the one guy that's rung the bell at least somewhat for their starting team.
He's hit a couple threes here late. Scott. Igbanu against Mayween. Kick out. Scott drives. Shot clock's down. Little jump hook and he hits it. Sweet touch by Martins Igbanu, the junior out of Nigeria. Sneed has hit the last 2 threes. The lead is 1. Mayween on Igbanu, spinning, in trouble, doubled, kicks it out. Sneed again, down the lane, lost the ball. Tulsa's got it. Minute 20 left.
I don't know about you, Rich, but I'm surprised no Wade. I mean, you got your best player out in the game, a minute to go. 1-point game.
Jeffries.
They got to go to Igbanu. That's been their best thing in the half court has been him touching the ball.
They feed the post. Igbanu in the lane. Over Mayween. Shots blocked. Mayween controls it. K-State on the move. Brown to the bucket. Stripped away. Ball's loose. Tulsa's got it.
Well, great defense.
And here comes Wade.
No, that was off Kansas State. They don't even have to look at that one. You don't have to foul, but you got to play solid defense and get a stop.
Well, here's the issue. Neither of these teams are anywhere near the bonus right now.
Not even close.
Kansas State's got 1 foul. Tulsa's got 3. We'll sort it out when we return. Tulsa by a point. 42 seconds left. Steve Lapis, here's what we touched on our way out to break. Look at the team fouls.
It's
and there's
unbelievable.
42 seconds left in this half. What does that do to the coach's strategy defensively?
Well, I think right now, obviously Kansas State has a real problem if they don't stop Tulsa here. So right now, they got to worry about stopping Tulsa. There'll be 18 seconds left. They'll be down 1 if they can get a stop. If they miss a shot, they're going to have to foul 6 times to get them to the foul line. There might not be enough time at that point.
Taplin off a screen, driving on Wade. Cut off at the baseline. Shot clock at 10. Tulsa with the ball and a 1-point lead over number 16. Kansas State. Taplin's missed. Ball is tipped. Snead's got it. Kansas State with 20 seconds left.
They need to attack the basket here.
Down a point. Timeout. Kansas State. Everybody exhale. 14 seconds left. Tulsa by a point. Kansas State has the ball.
They're going to have trouble getting a shot up Kansas State because Tulsa has 4 fouls to give. Well, 3 to give, 4 makes them shoot. So they've got 3 fouls to give in 14 seconds. They're going to end up leaving Kansas State maybe 3 or 4 seconds to get that last shot.
If you're Frank Haith, where do you give those fouls and how do you give those fouls?
You got to give them quick because, let's face it, they're going to try to attack right away. I say as soon as you hope to do it every 3 seconds if you can help it. But you have to make sure that they're not in a position to drive it or something. So you got to use them. You got to use them so that not every second you want to try and kill 2 or 3 seconds. And you want to make this 14 seconds into 5 if you can with those 3 fouls.
I can't remember another college basketball game that's close by a point with 14 seconds left where you have so many fouls to give on both sides.
There's only 4 fouls combined between these 2 teams. Well, you look at it this way. If by some chance Tulsa gets a stop here, then the game's going to be over because they're going to have 5 fouls to give and there's going to be like 7 seconds left. So this is Kansas State's last chance.
Okay, Kansas State offensively. How do you avoid fouls and try to get a shot?
Well, it's hard. The only way to avoid it is throw it. If you could throw it from the sideline into the post right away and get something quick, but they're going to foul you. You're kind of stuck here. If you're Kansas State, you are stuck. The only thing you can hope for is that they foul you quickly so that maybe you have 9 or 10 seconds left on that last possession. But right now, Tulsa's going to foul 3 times in a row, quick.
Snead will inbound it. He'll trigger it to Stokes. No foul yet.
You got to foul. Why don't they foul it?
No foul yet.
I can't believe they're not fouling.
Snead, there's the foul.
Now
there's 8 seconds left.
That's a great job by Tulsa. I didn't like it, but the way it developed was great. Now they have only 8 seconds left, Kansas State, and they still have 2 fouls to give. This thing's going to come down maybe to 2 or 3 seconds for a last possession.
And Tulsa, you would expect to foul a lot sooner on the inbound.
Absolutely. Like what I found now.
There's Brown starting to drive, and he's fouled. 5 seconds.
I'll tell you what, Tulsa is really doing a great job with this, I have to tell you.
So that's team foul number 5. Frank Haith and Tulsa has 1 more foul to give before free throws. And so 5 seconds left.
You got to figure if it goes the way it's going, they're going to have a last possession when Tulsa does not want to foul with about 3 seconds.
So, I mean, look, you can see right there, Bruce Weber is drawing a play up.
I'll tell you what Bruce Weber's got to do. He's got to try to drive this thing right away to make them use that foul quick, because if they mess around out on the perimeter with it, they'll have 1 second left for that foul come. So they have to, if you're Bruce Weber, you're telling your guys, throw it in and go. Make them foul you as quickly as you can.
Inside College basketball's coming up next. Nail biter here. Frank Haith and Tulsa trying to take down their second Big 12 opponent in 4 days. They beat Oklahoma State on Wednesday. They've got number 16 Kansas State down a point. Another foul to give. 5 seconds left in the game.
If you're Kansas State, you got to take this thing. Go.
Brown. No foul. The shot is off. Stokes' shot. Buzzer. Ball game. Tulsa wins it. Number 16 has fallen, and Tulsa takes another bite out of the Big 12.
And they tried to foul on that last possession, and the referees didn't call it. And they were very fortunate there, Tulsa, that Kansas State didn't score.
You talk about a resume builder. You beat Oklahoma State on Wednesday. You take down number 16 Kansas State today. It wasn't pretty. I mean, it wasn't pretty.
It was one of those games that if you're the home team, you have a tremendous advantage. In a grind-out game like this, you end up with the big. They fouled him right there. I mean, the referees, if you're Frank Haith and you lose that game, you're sending that tape in to the commissioner. Right here, they're giving that foul. That clock should have stopped with 3.1 seconds to go, and Kansas State taking it out of bounds. They could have lost the game there. Boy, that would have been really upsetting for Frank Haith had they lost that game.
This last shot by Jada.
It's a foul.
Watch the last shot by Jada. Did he get it off in time? Would it have counted? Right there. Yeah. As it is, it's a win, and an enormous win for Tulsa. Crowd's still on the floor. Team is still on the floor. And for Frank Haith and the Golden Hurricane, they go to 7-3. Kansas State loses for the second time this year. They are now 6-2. What a finish for Steve Lapis, our entire CBS Sports crew. I'm Rich Waltz. This is a presentation of CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Let's go to Dana Jacobson, Pete Gillen, Seth Davis, John Rothstein. Fouls to give in the studio. Inside college basketball. See ya from Tulsa.